kid with. So I was taking the pragmatic approach that I'm not going to take that chance. I'm not even going to leave that up to a chance. And I put sperm aside. I had sperm frozen and put aside just in case for some reason I ever did want to have kids, which I highly doubted I was going to want to do. Since then, I've had those sperm destroyed. It's by God's grace that I may someday have my vasectomy reversed and have children of my own, but I'm allowing the Spirit to guide me in those type of decisions. Like I said, I grew up in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, went to high school there. My parents owned and still do own a retail fireworks company, so I was working in their fireworks stores since I was about 9 years old, and just did a really good job with that. I really liked what I was doing. And the fireworks business is an interesting business because it is as cutthroat as any other business you can think of. We spend $50,000 on May 1st, and we did make all of that, our money, sell all of those fireworks by July 4th with a whole bunch of competitors selling the exact same thing at the exact same price. If it rains on the 4th of July, you've just lost 25% of your business for the entire year. We make 90% of our money from the 1st to the 4th. So what, I only tell you that to also give you a little bit more perspective on what God's done in my life, in that He has honed me into somebody who knows what intensity feels like, knows what pressure and stress feels like. And because of the fireworks business, that really just guided me all through Culver's, and still does guide me in that I know what it feels like to not be winning that game. I know what it feels like to have to fight and struggle for every single customer. I then went to college, and when I was a sophomore in high school, the seventh Culver's restaurant in the whole country opened. There's 500 now in my hometown of Sun Prairie, and that was when I was a sophomore. And I ate there every day for probably 300 days straight. I'm talking every day. I loved it. I couldn't believe it. The idea that they would bring your food out to you was just great to me. Everything's made fresh. I was 16, but I was blown away. So other than eating there every day, I didn't think about it too much. I went to Culver's in Oshkosh, I went to college in Oshkosh, and there was another Culver's restaurant there. And at this point, my entrepreneurial brain started kind of running a little bit because I didn't even know there was another Culver's in the whole country outside of Sun Prairie, because they were all in small towns. There were only 6 other ones. So I went to Oshkosh. I realized, oh, this might be a franchise. So I talked to the owner there, and it turned out that it was a franchise. And the wheels were turning a little bit, but I'm 18 years old. I'm just getting to college, and I'm thinking a little bit more about partying than I am about running a restaurant. So I kind of put that on the back burner for a couple years, did my own thing. When I was a sophomore in college, I finally kind of started coming back around, and I decided I'll go get a part-time job there to make sure that this is something that I want to do. So when I did that, it instantly became clear to me that this is what I like to do. It was fast-paced, it was aggressive, there were goals. It was flipping burgers, but it just tripped my trigger for some reason. So I worked there. After about a year working there, I went to Craig Culver. I asked him to grant me a franchise. At this point, I'm about 21 years old. Just short of laughing at me, he said, the next oldest franchisee I have is something like 42 years old. And I tried to explain to him I'm in a different situation. I have a good chunk of money from all the years I worked for my parents. I'm ready to do this. And he said, go back to school and get your degree. I was ready to drop out. I was like, I got enough schooling. I know what I want to do. So went back to college, got my degree, came back a year later. He couldn't believe that I still was pursuing this. So after some talking, he finally decided that he was going to grant me a franchise. That was one of the most amazing things that has ever happened to me. Absolutely praise God. And so then I went to the 16-week training course, and by the time I got done with the 16-week training course, Wisconsin was closed to new franchisees. And I had planned on opening in Madison. Now, that's good for current franchisees because they protect people, but bad for me. So I was pretty much left with 2 choices, to either go to Minneapolis or go to Chicago. I knew I wasn't going any further north or anywhere colder to Minneapolis, so I pretty much settled on Chicago. Now, I had a roommate in college that grew up in Orland Park, and I had gone to his house a few times to see, where he lived, at party in Chicago a little bit, whatever. And when I went there, the first time I drove into Orland Park, I was just blown away. And I'm from Wisconsin. You don't have retail meccas like Orland Park in Wisconsin. So when I drove in there, that was, in college, it just stuck in the back of my head. So when this Culver's opportunity and Chicago opportunity came up, I was like, Culver's in Orland Park, Mike, you can help me, find the right location with my realtor, the area, it's the exact type of people I'm looking for. So started looking. Orland Park is very hard to deal with. They have too much money. It was just really, really hard. One day, the village manager from Tinley Park calls up my realtor and says, we have a location for you. We know where we want you. And I was like, wow, this sounds a lot better than fighting tooth or nail over here. I didn't have a lot of money. And we found the location. It was about a C site, if that, not a very good site, but I was like, I'm just gonna put my head down and get this done. So we opened 1 week after 9/11. Now, that's after building a whole restaurant, putting all this money into it. I'm on my hands and knees cleaning out stuff. All of a sudden, it looks like the world's about to end, okay? So I'm just like, wow, and I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist up until 8 months ago. So just I'm gonna give you some perspective here. I'm just thinking, wow, this is crazy. And when you don't have God in your life, you're just looking at the world and saying, okay, this is what it is. I gotta do the math here and this doesn't look good. If I had God in my life, I know that, first of all, this life means nothing. Number two, that He has all of us in the palm of His hand. So it just gives you such a reassurance. So restaurant opened, like Kathy said, it wasn't the end of the world. Things went on. Things were really, really good. And I worked every day for 365 days straight, 15 hours a day for 1 year straight. And it wasn't hard, it wasn't anything. It was what I felt like I wanted to do it. Every time I got up in the morning, I said, I want to go do this. And I thought about alternatives, like should I go home and take a break and watch Seinfeld? But I would have just been thinking about the restaurant the whole time. So I was totally happy just working there every day. And so from there, the second year was even busier, and the third year, we set every Culver's record on the books. We had a $3 million year, first one in Culver's history. Wow. We had a $500,000 sales increase over the previous year. The previous record was about $300,000. And all of these numbers are without broadcast TV. I'm going up against Milwaukee restaurants that have the same level of coverage as a McDonald's do. And we broke every record down here by ourselves in the south suburbs. And I praise God first for that, but I also praise all of you guys who live in the south suburbs for supporting all of my restaurants in such a way. It was just a beautiful thing. And so, then, that led to more restaurants, and today I own 5 restaurants. And so, the following testimony that I'm about to tell you is completely for God's glory. I am absolutely nothing special. I'm simply His instrument that He's chosen to use, and we're all chosen in one way or the other to do His work. And no work is more important than any other work. If it's God's work, it's all the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're saving babies, or if you're spreading the word, or what you're doing, all work is equal in God's eyes as long as it's His work. So my testimony starts middle of this past December. I get this nagging cough. And it lasts for about 2 months. I don't know what it is. I hadn't been sick for about 10 years up until this point. I'm eating organic. I'm running. I'm working out. Everything is going good, but this cough just won't go away for 2 months straight. Has me running at about 90% instead of 100%. So I'm just like, it'll go away sooner or later. That culminates on February 12th when I get this deep pain in both of my hips, the type of pain you get when you get the flu and your bones just ache. And I realized, wow, I'm really going to be getting sick here. So 3 hours later, my tonsils are the size of golf balls. I can